see. Okay, 1 second. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thanks, Robin. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. So what is it about careers and feeling good about yourself? So here's the thing, and I feel like I know I wasn't taught this in school directly, and I feel like I should have been. And I don't know. Let me know if you feel like if you were taught this, because I'm really curious. I'm also a little bit of a researcher, psychologist, so wannabe, not yet. I'm not not a certified. The only certification I have is in teaching right now, but I am always curious to know what people's experiences are and what they have learned, or what they feel like they didn't learn that they should have. And there is a belief that I have, and that is that there's things that should be more deliberately taught in schools and not just kind of alluded to, which is what I feel like happens now. Like you'll get people will talk about careers, but they don't really talk about how to find the right career, and then how that leads to feeling good about yourself and building confidence and motivation. And I personally think that confidence should be taught in the schools, but that's another story. Someday maybe I'll set up an event and I'll just be like, here's Staci's story, and here's where here's what I believe, and here's what I'm looking out to do, and somebody who's going to help me get there. So that's what I'm thinking I might end up doing. So, but finding the right career, and it's never too late. First of all, here's what I want to say. Let me say, do I have this on my next slide? Let me see. Oh, I forgot that, don't listen to anyone else but you. That's what I want to say. And I want you to get fired up about it. And you know what? When somebody tries to rain on your parade, I want you to go and stomp and get away from them, because they don't know what they're talking about if they're raining on your parade and not giving you the kudos or whatever it is that you should have. There's a lot of, what are we having now? We're having lots of talks about diversity and equity. And I like to say, but what about those people who like to poo-poo on other people's ideas, right? What about the people who say, oh, you're over 40. How dare you want to have a tech career? Or how dare you want to now go to medical school? Oh, you're over 50. Oh, you want to start a new career? Oh, you want to become a doctor? You want to become a lawyer? How dare you? Oh, no, 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 no. How dare you? Because you know what? Oh, well, maybe you have a shorter career than some people. Yeah, but so what? How many people, become doctors and then they switch careers after 10 years anyway? My company, I work with doctors and lawyers that, excuse me, not lawyers. I work with doctors and nurses, and they're not in hospitals, right? They're not seeing patients every day, the doctors. They practiced for a few years and then they went into corporate jobs, right? So who is to say what does it matter how long you do something or don't do something for? That's where I feel like you get a lot of inequity too. And I don't hear that when I hear about like diversity and inclusion and equity. And I think um, age is part of that, right? And why are people stopping people who are perfectly capable people to do other things? And you can bring so much more life experience than you could possibly in your 20s to something. I know that I didn't, now I'm considering some sort of psychology, whether it's clinical psychology, industrial organizational psychology, educational psychology, and like counseling people in career counseling. So this is kind of like my step into career counseling. Um, but who's to say I wasn't as experienced years ago to be as productive as I could? But who's to say that I can't, go and do that now over 40? And there's people who really need to appreciate that more and not just try to kick out a workforce over 40 to bring in, college 20 somethings. And I'm not against them. I'm just saying I'm sure they will want to not have the same thing happen to them when they get older too. So watch out who you listen to is my main thing. Get fired up. Now, here's the other thing that goes along with changing careers or getting into a career, and it's called competence and confidence. If you're not showing that confidence, you're not going to show competence, right? So you want to show these things, you want to show the passion into that career, into that job that you want to get. Now, here are some, so this is actually what I wanted to talk about tonight. This is straight from the meetup posting, and why I put this here is that, how being in the wrong job can definitely take a toll on confidence and and it can make you not feel very good, right? If you're not confident, you're not feeling good about yourself. And that's what we want to avoid. We want to find a way to get you to where you will feel good about yourself, right? So this is all about improving our lives. And part of this group, that I've put together is on confidence and motivation. And when we're unhappy, we're not feeling as motivated, right? I mean, we're living in a world of kind of a sick, excuse me, well, an unfortunate, I guess, sad, defeating kind of a loop that's happening. You've got a lot of fast food restaurants, processed foods that don't make us feel very good about ourselves because they really don't have many nutrients that we're not getting. We're not getting a lot of exercise. We're being distracted by social media and television, and any other entertainment forms like that. Anything that makes you stay stationary and that doesn't allow you to build relationships with people. Now, here's something that I think is really unfortunate, and it's a website called Facebook. Now, what I feel is really unfortunate about this, and here's why I bring it up. It like tricks you. It tricks you into thinking you have tons of friends, right? It's like, oh, make a friend. Oh, but I'm on social media. I'm making friends. I've got my whole well, technological world out there. I've got all these friends that I'm talking to. Wrong. Wrong. It's wrong. Here's why. In order to build healthy relationships, they need to be in person. You need to verbally speak to someone. They need to verbally speak to you. If you are not doing that, you are not fully communicating. You are only doing 10% of communication on there. So what's that going to leave you? That's going to leave you relationshipless and unfulfilled. And I'm I feel like people are so caught in a trap because they think, oh, well, I have to see everything that everybody's doing. And I've even had people that I knew that I worked with back in the 90s, and they got mad at me because I wasn't following their Facebook page to know what was going on in their life. And I'm thinking, seriously, like, what's wrong there besides everything to think that that's okay? Now, I'm not saying it's not lovely to share pictures. And I love a good animal video. I love the dogs and the cats particularly. And I love this one little video, and there was a duck and a dog cuddling. I thought it was so cute. All right, I'm cool to watch some of that. But we need to limit our our stationariness. Okay. If we're not getting out, if we're not interacting, we are going to be unhealthy. We're not, just watch your confidence go down. The more you are on these social media websites, and the more you're sitting and watching TV or binge watching Hulu, Netflix, whatever it is, watch your mood take a turn for the worse, because it will. Okay. So that's my thoughts on that. Sorry, I went a little bit overboard, maybe, but I feel like it has to be said. So part of this talk, I thought that we could look at some internet resources, because some of the resources, and I mean, I'm not in front of you, but I would say you want to take inventory of your skills. So I'm going to point you in the direction of looking at websites that are going to give you a chance to take inventory of your interests, right? And I'm always kind of like skeptical on the interests, because I think you also have to think about salary and what kind of income you want to be able to make too. So we may need to find a balance on that. But let me take a look, and I didn't make this clickable here. So hang on one second. Stopped as the shared window is closed. Okay, that's fine. So let me just go back over here. I'm actually going to come out of, hang on one second. Okay, so I'm going to grab this link right here, and let's take a little adventure. Oh, and actually I do have it open already. All right. So this website says the 10 best career tests to find your true calling. Now, something, especially as we're going to get older, finding our true calling and a passion is going to become more important to us. And I know some of us may be like, but I don't know what that is. Well, here's how you're going to start. You're going to start out by figuring out what it's not. Okay. So I would encourage you to maybe we don't know what it is. I haven't always known what it was. I'm finally getting things a little bit more solidified for myself. But what I would say for you, start out by taking things off the list. Figure out what it's not. See if you can make yourself a list, make a list in Excel, right? So here, I advise trying to use these organizational tools, even though I'm telling you not to spend too much time online solitary, but I do want you to take enough time to find to try to figure this out. But what I'd encourage you, when you hit a wall and you're like, I can't think anymore, I can't look at this, I don't know what's right, I want you to walk away, and I want you to go and do something else. Okay. Don't let it drive you crazy, because I've had things like this drive me crazy. Don't let it drive you crazy. If you're going crazy, you reach out to me. Okay. So here's one. So Career Hunter matched to popular and emerging careers, right? So you can go through that, and there's a video to analyze your strengths, abilities, and interests, and get some kind of career matches, right? So you can do that. Well, some of them are okay. So the first test is free. I always say look for stuff that's free first. Don't pay until you absolutely have to. These things you shouldn't really have to pay, because I think that there's a lot online that are free. the Myers-Briggs type indicator. I was actually in a meeting at work and people were actually listing out their personality assessment coding. I thought it was funny. So you can get a free version, and then if you want an extended package, you know, you can go up to 150. So it's going to depend on what your budget is and what you're able to do. But I would encourage you to do this. And remember, maybe you're looking at things and you're not really sure. I say pick out what's not good. See, try and start a list again. So I was going to say right here, right? Career choice or option, whatever you want to call it, list. So, you know, organize the information. I find it makes a lot easier to deal with. Now, you can do this online, you can do it on pen and paper, whatever makes you happy. I'm just doing this since we're doing the presentation, right? So if there are careers that start coming out, maybe there is a teacher, maybe there's an ophthalmologist. I said that and then I'm like, I don't know how to spell that exactly. I don't think that's right, but nevertheless, well, you know, like an eye doctor. Or maybe there is a UX designer, right? Or maybe there's a data scientist, right? So my point is, I want you to then put in yes, no, maybe. So whatever kind of results you get, I want you to, put them into categories, yes, no, or maybe. Check off what's right or not right for you. Again, this is just an example, depends on what you get. Maybe and maybe there's an accountant. I never really thought I'd want to be an accountant, but it is a pretty technical skill, to be quite honest with you. Maybe there's a real estate agent, right? Maybe there's something like whatever. Now, I'm going to tell you pretty much everything except for things that require certifications. A lot of training, I'm not going to say all training, but I'm going to say a significant amount of training now can be found online on sites like Udemy, or as an adult, if you are looking to get your bachelor's degree, if you haven't yet. One school I would recommend at least looking at is actually here in New Jersey, and it's called Thomas Edison State University. It used to be college, but now it's university. And this school I mentioned just because it is specifically for an adult, so it's not really a 20 something. It's a distance learning school, and it's been that way, I think, since its inception, right? So online learning courses are new for a lot of schools, but this one has pretty much always been that way. But what's interesting about this school is you can earn credit for what you already know. So like if you're over 30 or over 40, whatever it is, you can get credit for lifetime learning. And you do that through doing portfolios, and you can take exams to get out of classes, and they give you credit for it. So, so if you ever considered a school, like, I would take a look at that. Now look at, here's something interesting. I want to earn credit for completing free online courses. I've never seen that before. This option enables students to take open online courses offered by the Saylor Foundation at no cost, and then apply what they learned to those open courses by successfully completing a portfolio assessment, TECEP exam, or other credit by program aligned with the course. Oh, that sounds so exciting. See, so when they say, a college degree is really expensive. Well, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. And I think that those are people who say that really don't understand and know what's out there and available online. And then, I mean, one other thing I can also point out when you're looking for stuff, MIT actually has all this free course material. It's called their open courseware. And I mean, you can basically learn like anything here. There's like a slew of their courses. Now, it's all kind of learning independently. There are videos. Now, you used to be able to see a list, but I guess there's so many now that it might be hard to just pull up a list, but they have like everything. You can just go wild on this site, let me tell you, all free, right? Like people are like, oh, you have to pay 100,000 or whatever for a degree. And I'm like, no. So, so anyway, just a few things to consider. It's out there. Definitely look for free, cheap options, and don't beat yourself up that you think you can't afford it, because it's really it's really out there. Like, look at this: calculus, number theory for those into math like I am, but they really have everything. I mean, just sit there and start like searching. Let's see if they even have, oh, not English, Coach Staci, English. Look at this. Look at these lists of courses like over here, and then you can search in all these different topics. I mean, oh my God, it's endless and it's free. See, I'm always into the free stuff. I think that's good. Anyway, okay. So here's my other point of telling you this. You can look here at these free courses to explore topics. So if you're like, well, I'm not sure how interested I am in this, is this right for me? You can look here. They've got like the free, a lot of them have videos that the professors see, like demonstration videos. Every class is different. I'm not familiar with all of them. I've actually only looked at their calculus courses, to be quite honest with you. But that's another story. I'm still trying to pass Calc 3. I know I'm going to do it. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Okay. So, but again, whatever your interest is, look at this. They got fluid mechanics, whatever that, I don't know mechanics. I don't know exactly what that is, but if you wanted to know, you can go and look it up, right? You can just go wild like for hours and days, but don't forget to get up and move around and talk to people, because that's important. So yeah, so I just wanted to make sure you know about this, marketing, logic, nuclear materials, oceanography, geography. I would encourage you, whatever your career indexes come back and tell you, go and look it up. Now, and of course, you can look up stuff on YouTube. They've got a lot of free resources there too. And if you're not sure, feel free to reach out to me and I will tell you, and you can ask me, and if I know or can think of any other free resources, I will definitely let you know. Now, one other resource that's not free, but very inexpensive, I think, because the classes go down to like $9.99 to $12.99 a course, and it's like lifetime, and you get the materials and you can talk to the professor and stuff, is through this Udemy, Udemy. I call it Udemy. Everybody pronounces it different, but whatever, it doesn't matter. They've got a slew of things, and they do have free courses too. There are free ones. I know that I've gotten some downloaded, but again, when you find out what your career inventory says, you can go back and now look it up and then try to narrow things down. So then what I would suggest, again, with your list, right, you can check yes, no, or maybe for the careers that it may be pointing you in the direction of, and then say, where I am going to look up more information. And then you can paste like your link, or say, I will look it up on Udemy, give yourself like some notes and say, here's where I'm going to look for this or that, or check it out I don't, know much about this on MIT Open Courseware. And there's a lot of this open courseware. There's a few different companies. I think Coursera's got some too, but there's so much out there. I'm not, I believe in, however, you have to get the education and knowledge. I don't think that it always has to be a formal paying, $2,000 a course or to get the knowledge. I think we underestimate the value of a book and reading sometimes, and looking things up now that we have so many options on the internet for us. Are there any questions so far? Any? Is this helpful? Can anybody finding this helpful, not helpful, saying, Staci already knew this, why do you keep saying the same thing over and over?
It's definitely very helpful. Thank you.
Oh, good. Thanks, Robin. I hope that I feel like I know I'm an oscillating thinker, meaning I don't have a dominant side of my brain. I'm not left or right brain dominant. I tend to think in the middle. So what does that mean for me? That means I bounce back and forth depending on the day and my mood of whether I'm thinking with the right brain or the left brain. So because of that, I tend to have a lot of interest. I tend to, I can sway to the left or I can sway to the right, So it becomes hard for me. So I find that organizing the information and putting things down and then kind of saying why, why I like this, not, that kind of can give you some perspective. Don't be afraid to ask yourself some questions, because that's usually how you'll get an answer in your mind. And I often say, let me go to bed and you think of the question, and then I find that in the morning the answer comes to me. So so if that's a technique that helps you also. So what else do I have for you guys? Okay, so doing the career inventory, and now this one actually had, okay, no, we did the best career tests, and then you've got the career addict, the guide to finding a career. And again, I'm not a full counselor yet, but I do find that these resources can be helpful. And a lot of times what really has to happen is you have to put in the work, you have to put in the effort. It's really going to be about what you want and what you come up with. So it's not something that other people are going to be able to give you an answer for. So that's why if you can structure an area or come up with some ideas, it's going to be more helpful for you. Don't be like me, who, I have a lots of I have lots of interests, but I love to teach and I love to help people. So that's what brings me to education and psychology. And then what do I like to teach and train people on? Well, I like to train them on technical skills and problem solving and things like that. So that's where that comes in for me. And that's pretty much what happens most dominantly to me over and over. So, and I also I like project management because that allows me to kind of organize everything. So if you're at a loss, I would encourage for a career, I'd encourage you to look at project management too, because it kind of like brings a little, it really teaches you management overall, and it teaches you how to organize all the different aspects of a manager, in my opinion. So yeah, so that's what I have for everybody. Any questions? Any thoughts, any lingering ideas? Anybody need any advice? No, this is not my bedroom. I wish I had like something really that neat and organized, but I don't. I think it's a very subdued background. What do you all think? So, all right. Any other lingering thoughts? Are we good? Does it I love feedback. I'm somebody who I thrive off of input, but I just remind you kindness counts. That's always important. But I will leave you if there's no questions. Any other questions? Robin, did you have a question? No?
No questions. I just wanted to say I appreciate the ideas. I'm going to take some of these quizzes. I keep forgetting, but I'm going to do them
Okay.
and look into some of these coursework things. And I'm inspired. So thank you.
Oh, good. Yay. Yay. Thank you, Robin. And I encourage you, put it on your calendar.
Right.
Throw the little link
Exactly.
right there. That's what I have to do.
Yep.
Yeah, good. Okay. All right. Well, y'all, well, I will leave it there. I'm going to stop the recording.